Hello friends, today I'm excited to bring you some DIY patio projects for this summer. To reach our patio, we have two main features: our homemade Cottage green garden gate and this glorious red climbing rose bush which needs to be put on a new trellis. We'll start our DIY projects with this gate. Here's the original photo. This is what it looked like when we bought the house. It was wobbly, cracked, and in need of repair. This was our first attempt at replacing the gate, and while it lasted for a couple seasons, we ran into a couple other functionality problems.
Are you filming?
Gotcha! You're on!
Okay. We got it in one piece.
One issue was this unsightly, mismatched concrete border that was already breaking up. The other issue was the fact that we could not swing the gate fully open because there weren't enough cinder blocks laid before the ground began to rise. Matt began by breaking up and then prying out this concrete wall and removing the cinder pavers right to the threshold of the gate. Next was to chop back the sod to allow for the gate to swing fully open. A lot of hard work. Then Matt set the pole for the new gate, and this time we chose a metal one. Instead of the cinder block pavers, we decided to go with something a little more charming and went to our local rock yard to choose flagstone. We also picked up enough border rocks to fill in where that cinder block wall had been and replace the trellis behind the rows. Here is the new gate with a simple swoop top line. The flagstone and rock edging are mortared in, and Matt is finishing building, and then he will paint the gate. I thought a couple of cherry pots on either side of the gate would make it look really welcoming. We've chosen some pink dahlias and two different kinds of petunias. I will never tire of the fresh, bright annuals that come out every spring. Okay, let's take a look at our brand new green cottage gate and flagstone entry. I love how it turned out. Now, you may remember one of my favorite DIY patio projects from a couple years ago. I started with some vintage plates that were broken and chipped up a few more myself. And then we created a mosaic pattern in an old bird bath we had kicking around in the backyard. Here is Matt adding the mortar, and I come in behind and wipe it down into the cracks. This project was relatively simple, easy to do, and has a great impact. Now here is how it has weathered extreme heat and extreme cold over the last 2 years. A few of the plates, the older vintage ones, have cracked and the pieces have settled in the bottom of the bird bath. Let's see what we can do to bring this back up to brand new. The first step is to gather up all the little pieces and then to give this bird bath a good scrubbing. Once the bird bath is clean and dry, we will begin gluing the pieces back in place. That already looks so much better. This bird bath is visible from our large picture window in the living room, and I've enjoyed watching the birds and the squirrels enjoy the fresh drinking water over the years. So to me, it was definitely worth the time it took to puzzle these pieces back in. To adhere the pieces of china, I used an E6000 glue. Then for longevity, this time we used a liquid rubber sealer called Flex Seal. Once the sealant is dry, we can put the basin back in place and fill it with water.
Hello everyone. Today we're going to be building a tree bench to go around our backyard tree. We wanted some extra seating on our patio, and we thought this would be a good solution. Now, This is kind of an oddly shaped tree, so we're going to wind up building more of a horseshoe shape to go around it.
Here's a rough sketch of what Matt has in mind for the tree bench.
I'm going to start by cutting all the pieces for the legs. Once I've got them all cut, I'll assemble the legs, set them roughly in place where they go around the tree, and start to build the bench from there.
Where are your safety glasses, young man?
Now, your tree might be a different size than ours, so your measurements might be a little different. I measured one of our patio chairs to get the height, which is 16 inches, and the depth, which is 14 inches. And there you have it. Now that I've got all the legs assembled, I'm going to put them roughly where they go around the tree. Then I'm going to attach the first row of seat boards. That'll help hold the legs in place while I cut the rest of the boards and finish assembling the bench.
Well, that was our plan, but we got rained out. As you can see, we've got a new fence up on two sides, and we are so excited to get it stained once it's dry. Isn't spring rain just exhilarating and refreshing? Okay, now that the rain has gone and the yard has dried, we are back to the tree bench. And here you can see Matt is setting the legs in place and screwing on the seat boards. I got the idea for a tree bench off of Pinterest. And after looking at several different designs, we chose the horseshoe shape because, like Matt said, this is quite an oddly shaped tree. My idea with this tree bench was not only to provide more seating for the patio area, but also to create a park-like atmosphere by having this bench around the tree. Once Matt has the tree bench stabilized with the first round of seat boards, he can then cut the remaining seat boards and the apron boards that will go across the front and sides to give a little bit more of a finished look. I just love how this is coming together, and I think the angled boards in the corners give it such a professional look. Matt does such good work. Once all the seat boards are on, Matt attaches the apron boards across the front, which really are just extra wide pickets left over from building the fence. I think the apron boards across the front really give it that extra touch that looks polished and like what you would see on a park bench. This looks so nice. The last board goes on and we are ready to stain. For a cohesive look, we have decided to stain the tree bench the same color as the fence. This will also help protect it against rot and mildew and give us a little bit more longevity, which is great when you create a project like this. The other thing that usually happens when you do projects like this are what I call a ripple or domino effect. Once you get something like this completed, it always seems like there's other little things that pop up along the way that also become projects. Finally, time to stain. This sprayer makes staining the fence so easy. Matt has placed a tarp over the bird bath to prevent the light floating stain from landing on it. This sprayer is the same one that we use to paint the cabinets in our kitchen, the buffet on the back porch, and the exterior of our house. The only difference here is a certain kind of a tip that Matt uses to help disperse the stain evenly. Once he has finished spraying the panels, he will come back in with some rags and wipe down the poles. Once you have a clean, dry fence, this whole process is extremely quick. And what a dramatic transformation.
Okay, now we're ready to stain the bench. We're wanting to stain it with the same color as the fence, that way it just all blends in together. Now the wood has set for a little while since we finished construction, so I'll take a broom and just knock off any dirt or anything that's gotten on the wood. Then I'll shake up the stain really well, make sure it's good and mixed, and we'll put a coat of stain on and see how it looks. So one tip I'll give whenever you're using a stain is to make sure to stain from one end of a board to the other. That maintains what they call a wet edge. And so what happens is, if you stain half the board and then take a break, let that dry, and come back and stain the other part of the board, where the two stains overlap, so the old dry stain and the new wet stain, you're going to have a darker spot because effectively you have two coats right there where the overlap was and only one coat on either side. And so I'm going to go from edge to edge just to make sure that we have a nice even looking finish on the wood. Another thing I'm doing after the stain has had several minutes, maybe 10 minutes or so, to sit on the wood and soak in, I'm going to come back with a clean rag and wipe off any excess. That way we don't have shiny spots or places where there's just extra stain puddling up on the wood.
New fence and park-like tree bench finished and stained to match. They look amazing! As I suspected, this kind of a thing always has a domino effect, and now I want to add a little bit of bright color to those irises surrounding the bird bath. And Matt has another idea for hiding those rather unsightly metal poles that are holding up our brand new fence. His idea turned out so well that I no longer mind having the poles on our side of the fence. Now let's get some color under that bird bath. This area of the yard does get quite a bit of shade, especially once all the leaves are fully grown. So we have chosen some coleus in several different colors. This one is a bright lime green. For the others, we chose a mixture of deep rust and lime, and a deep purple. We add a vintage garden bench and a pretty blue and white planter to round off the area. Now, we have been working on this space for a couple years, but how far it has come. You'll be amazed as you keep working on a project as time and budget allow what you really can accomplish. Can you see now why those poles just seem to stick out like a sore thumb? Let's tackle those next. Now, if you live in an ordinary suburban backyard like we do, this might be one of your favorite simple DIY projects. With the extra pickets left over from building the back fence, Matt grabs a couple and screws them together at a right angle. Next, he places the cover over the pole and screws it to the fence. I'm not really sure where he got the idea to cover our fence poles. I think he just came up with it on his own. The effect that these pole covers have is a fence that looks custom finished. Once all the pole covers were in place, Matt stained them by hand with a brush to match the fence. While this project was very simple and relatively easy to do, it has had such a tremendous transformative impact. While Matt was covering the poles, I decided that after 2 years, our metal floor mat needed a fresh coat of paint. I brushed off the cobwebs and the dirt and applied a coat of high-gloss black paint, which also had rust protection. Such an improvement! Matt is down to the last 2 posts, and I can't believe how much better this area looks. I'm thinking about putting a faux trellis, in between 2 of the posts behind the bench for added texture. We'll see. Another project for another day. Friend, I hope you've enjoyed joining us today as we did some DIY projects to welcome in the patio season. I would love to know which one was your favorite or that you're considering doing on your own patio. Until next time, take care.